Hey everybody, what's up, man? Start running a few errands here real quick. Man, it feels really nice. The temperature's actually, I think, around 40 degrees. And I've been so sick of like those single-digit temperatures last week. And looks like we're turning the corner on the cold weather here a little bit. But hey, what I want to talk about today is something that's really very timely for right now, what we're experiencing in a lot of the lakes around the country. As soon as they thaw out, as you know, a lot of the lakes we have around my part of the country, a lot of them are still froze. But as soon as they thaw out, which will probably be this week, there's going to be a lot of talk about dying shad and how it's affecting the fishing. So in today's tip, I want to give you guys some tips specifically on how shad kill affects jerkbait fishing. But hey, before we get started, just want to remind you guys, tomorrow night, Johnny and I have our Tuesday night live podcast. We're going to be doing a little bit of talk on some of the live scope news out there as far as like when to use it, when to turn it off. It's going to be pretty interesting, and I think you guys might like that. So I hope to see you there tomorrow night, 7 p.m. on Fish the Moment Live, the new Fish the Moment Live YouTube channel. So anyway, let's get into this jerkbait shad kill deal. First of all, I think one of the a lot of people out there probably, in fact, I think the majority of the anglers out there, the bass anglers, they just don't have a lot of experience with shad kills because for a couple different reasons. A lot of people, they don't live in the part of the country that you get a lot of shad kills, and they don't fish a lot during when it's really cold. I think, you know, so overall, I think we're talking about a smaller group of anglers that have really experienced shad kill fishing and have a lot of, you know, time on the water with it. But for me, living here in the Missouri Ozarks, you know, fishing in the winter a lot like I do, I've grown up around it. I've fished these situations for over 40 years, so I've got a really good handle on what it does to the fish. First thing you need to remember when you're talking about shad kills in the wintertime, you got to adjust your expectations accordingly. When you have a significant shad kill on a body of water, the fishing is just going to be tough for a lot of different reasons. You're coming off of some super cold water normally. The fish, they have an easy target with dying shad. They're eating a lot of shad, gizzards and threadfins both, and they simply don't have to chase or work to get a lot of food. So, you know, from that standpoint, the fishing is just going to be off a little bit. You just sort of have to adjust your expectations to that. Second with that, one of the things you have to figure out is like, where are most of the shad kills taking place at on the lake that you fish? Because not all of the lake is going to be affected the same with shad kills. So I think probably the biggest element as far as catching bass on jerkbaits during a shad kill is selecting the right area of the lake to fish. This is so critical for that. And for the most part, a lot of times you don't really know where that's going to be, but in general, for the most part, from what I found, and this is just a pretty basic rule of thumb, is that the more that you fish the lower into the lake in the clearer water, that's where going to be your biggest shad kills. And the shad kills get a little bit less as you gradually get further up the lake, more into the creek and river arms. So what you want to do is you have to find a balance between getting up the lake a little bit and keeping that water clarity where you need it for them to bite a jerkbait on. And when you're dealing with water temperatures in the 40s, which you're going to be dealing with when you're dealing with a shad kill situation, you need to be in that water visibility that has at least 3 foot of visibility. That's going to be key. 3 to 5 feet is my ideal scenario. So my advice right off the bat is pick a part of the lake that you live on that has those requirements, away from the lower end of the lake, and fishing further up where you still have that water visibility in 3 to 5 feet. The second thing you need to look at as far as the specific type of cover for that, where those fish are going to be that time of year. One of the big areas that you're going to have shad kills are simply where a lot of the shad have been living at. A lot of those shad, you know, before they got stunned by this cold weather, they're going to be on the typical type of areas where the bass are. The secondary points, they're going to be over ditches. They're going to be, you know, suspended out over deep water, over a little bit deeper water. So you still want to target those same type of areas because that's where those bass are going to be staging at this time of year. So stay on those same type of areas, your ditches, you know, out off the points looking for suspended bass, and then on the secondary and main points in less than 10 feet of water. So because you're going to have two different jerkbait populations of fish to be caught. You're going to have those fish that are in that 5 to 10 foot zone that you're pulling off the bottom, and then you're going to have those fish that are suspended deeper out off those points, ends, and sides. So the next thing you do, once you've identified, you know, the part of the lake that you want to be in, up the lake a little bit, up the river arms and the creek arms or whatever, on your secondary points, is the type of jerkbait itself. One of the things that's going to get you a lot more bites in the cold water like that is a smaller jerkbait. So, you know, my favorite jerkbait that time of year is probably either the Megabass X70, X80, or the Margay. Those are 2-hook jerkbaits. They're, you know, all those baits, depending upon how you weight them, is going to run in the same frame as the regular Vision 110s. They're going to get down in that strike zone, and they're going to be closer to the shad size that those fish are eating. So that's the first thing, is get away from those 3-hook jerkbaits and go down to the 2-hook jerkbaits. Second thing you want to remember with the jerkbait during the shad kill is you want to weight your bait a little bit heavier to get it to sink a little bit faster. I normally like my baits to sink, you know, in the wintertime I like them to sink about 1 foot every 10 seconds. But during a shad kill, I want to double that. So I put a little bit more lead on the bait, a few more suspend strips along with the bigger hooks. And I want to get that bait where it's falling like maybe a foot every 3 to 5 seconds, a pretty fast fall rate. And one of the things you're going to find is, since the shad are dying they're dying, they're sinking down, they're fluttering back up, if you can get a jerkbait that'll sink a little bit faster, it's going to trigger those fish to bite that normally wouldn't in that. And another thing you need to do with that is you need to pick up your pace of your rhythm a little bit on your jerkbait retrieve. Don't pause it near as much. You know, when you get it down there into its maximum depth, like that 7 to 8 foot zone, don't hesitate it over about a second or two. Keep it moving pretty good. You know, the only time that you want to pause it is to allow that bait to sink down just a little bit. So don't sit there and stop your bait and let it sink down, you know, for like 10 seconds. You're not going to get near as many bites like that. You know, just let it sink down for a little bit, second or two, and then bring it back in with that. So those are the 3 keys that's really going to help you out. One other thing is going to be, you know, one other little tidbit here is color a little bit on it. During the shad kill, I tend to like the metallic finishes a little bit better. You know, I use the flat finishes, the translucents, and the metallics a lot all winter, but during the shad kill, you're going to find out the metallics a little bit better. And those are going to be the 3 main elements. So anyway, just to refresh once again, you know, get up the lake a little bit, get away from the mid lake, the lower end of the lake, stay on those secondary points and over the ditches, go to the smaller jerkbaits. Don't pause them quite as long, and go with your metallic finishes. And those are going to be the things that really add up to more bites during the shad kill. But again, like I said, you got to lower your expectation. You know, you're probably not going to go out there and rip them a lot. If you see dead shad on the bottom, or if you see a lot of shad on the surface struggling or fluttering around, that's a sign it's probably going to be some tough fishing. But it doesn't last that long. I mean, normally, you know, a week or two, and it starts to clear up a little bit. But anyway, get ready for it, because a lot of places across the country, that's what we're looking at having. So anyway, hope that helped you guys out. You know, it's worked for me over the past, and I think it might work for y'all too. So anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. You know, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd invite you to please do so. That'd be much appreciated. And if you like this video, hit that like button. That really helps out these videos get out to a few more people and everything. So anyway, hope you guys have a good day. We'll talk to you later. See you.